A very good morning to all the students. Welcome to the Aryan Digital Content. In this video, I will explain you the chapter number 5 of your textbook, that is coal and petroleum. In this chapter, you will learn about the occurrence of the coal and petroleum, the history, that how the coal and petroleum are formed, and their uses in our daily life, and types of the natural resources that we use in our daily life on a daily basis. So let's start with the introduction. That is, we use, as you all know, that we use various types of materials for our basic needs on our day-to-day basis. For example, some of them, for example, the coal, petroleum for cooking food, petrol, diesel for running the scooters or the vehicles that we use in our homes. So some of some of these resources that are found in nature, and some of them they are made by the human efforts. So in short, since all these resources, these are obtained from the nature, hence they are called as the natural resources. So on the basis of the availability of these natural resources, we can classify them into two kinds, that is inexhaustible natural resources and the exhaustible natural resources. So let's take one by one. First is inexhaustible natural resources. These resources are present in huge amount in the nature, or present in the unlimited quantity in the nature, such that they are not likely to be finished or exhausted by human activity in the coming time. ठीक है. For example, sunlight and air. इनएग्जॉस्टिबल रिसोर्सेज वो रिसोर्स होते हैं जो कि नेचर में अनलिमिटेड क्वांटिटी में प्रेजेंट होते हैं, ठीक है, और वो आने वाले टाइम में एग्जॉस्ट उनके ख़त्म होने का जो डेंजर है वो भी नहीं होता. इसका एग्जांपल है सनलाइट एंड एयर. जैसे एयर है, एयर कभी ख़त्म होती है, सनलाइट कभी ख़त्म होती है, नहीं होती. सो दीज आर दी इनएग्जॉस्टिबल नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज. The second are the exhaustible natural resources. These resources they are limited in nature, so they are present in nature in a very small amount, so that they can be exhausted by the human activities in the coming time. For example of these resources are forest, wildlife, mineral, coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. सो एग्जॉस्टिबल रिसोर्सेज क्या है, ये नेचर में बहुत ही कम क्वांटिटी में प्रेजेंट होते हैं, और वो दे कैन हम उनके एग्जॉस्ट होने का खतरा भी ज़्यादा है, ठीक है. सो अनलेस और अनटिल देयर इज़ नो ह्यूमन इंटरफेरेंस बाय द इन्वायरमेंट. सो ये तो पॉसिबल नहीं है कि कोई ह्यूमन इंटरफेरेंस ना हो. अगर ह्यूमन होगा तो ह्यूमन इंटरफेरेंस भी होगा. सो दीज आर द एग्जॉस्टिबल नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज. अब इसमें से जो कोल है एंड पेट्रोलियम है, दीज आर द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट रिसोर्सेज as we use them in our daily life. So let's take one by one इनके importance, इनकी history क्या है, कैसे बनते हैं, इसको एक एक करके लेते हैं. सबसे पहले है कोल. जैसे as you can see in the picture, it is a black colored stone which is hard in texture, ठीक है. So it is known as coal. Coal, you know that it is one of the basic fuel that we used to cook food at earlier times in our homes. Earlier it was also used in the railway engines to produce the steam which provides the energy to run the railway engines, and it is also used in thermal power plants to produce the electricity or in the power generation. So coal is basically it is used as fuel in various industries and in our daily life. So it is a very important resource. Next is the what is the history of coal, or what is the story of coal and how it is formed. So you know, about 300 million years ago, that earth had a dense vegetation, a dense forest in the coastal areas. So various types of vegetation are present at earlier times on the earth. So but due to some human interference or due to some natural processes like flood या फिर बाढ़ आना, इससे क्या हुआ, these forests they got buried under the soil, they got destroyed. So ये टूट के क्या है, soil के अंदर deposit हो गए. As more and more soil they deposited over them, so they were compressed, ठीक है. जैसे क्या है, flood आ गई, जो वेजिटेशन है वो सॉइल के अंदर बरी हो गया, उसके बाद क्या है जैसे कि और ज़्यादा सॉइल उसके ऊपर डिपॉजिट होती गई, तो उससे क्या है वो वेजिटेशन इट स्टार्ट्स गेटिंग कंप्रेस्ड. Okay, due to the compression, as you all know that the temperature of earth it raises over centuries. ठीक है, it raises day by day. जैसे जैसे temperature increase हुआ, they starting sank deeper and deeper into the soil. So under the influence of the high pressure and high temperature, these dead vegetation or these dead plants, they slowly got converted into a black colored stone, black colored hard substance which is known as coal. As you know that coal it contains mainly of the carbon, so this process of conversion of the dead vegetation into coal, this process is also known as carbonization. Since it was formed from the remains of the dead vegetation, so coal is also called as a fossil fuel. As you all know that fossil fuels, they are the dead remains of the living organisms that were previously living at the past centuries. Okay. So this is the history of the coal. As you all know that coal is, when we heat coal in the railway engines or to cook food, this coal burns and it produces mainly of the carbon dioxide gas. So it is a air polluting substance, and coal is also processed in the industries to get some useful products, so that we can use in industries, in perfumes, in preservatives, in to cook food, or the engines or industries in power generation, electricity. So coal is processed in industries to form the various useful substance. For example, coke, coal tar. Coal tar is used in metaling the roads, and coal gas. So let's take the importance of these products one by one. First is the coke. Coke, it is the formed by the processing of coal in the industries. It is tough, it is very hard in texture, it is porous, it has small pores in it, and it is a black colored substance. It is the among all the products of the coal, coke is the considered as the purest form of carbon, as it contains 95% of the carbon. This coke is used in the manufacturing of the steel. Okay, steel manufacture करने में काम होता है, and also it is used in the extraction of metals, that is metallurgy. So इसके दो applications है, it is used in the steel manufacturing and metallurgy. Next is the coal tar. Coal tar, it is the thick dark colored substance, as you can see in the picture, liquid type substance that is used for making the synthetic dyes. Dyes बनाने का काम होता है, it is used in making drugs, explosive, perfume, plastic, paints, photographic materials, roofing materials. And interestingly, naphthalene balls that are used to repel the moths or the insect from the clothes, they also are obtained from the coal tar. But these days, bitumen, substance called the bitumen, it is a petroleum product which is used in the place of coal tar for metaling the roads. As you know that coal tar is used for metaling the roads. Roads are black in color, so coal tar is used in the road material. Instead of that, nowadays we use the bitumen instead of the coal tar for metaling roads. Next is the coal gas. During the processing, जब हम coal से coke बनाते हैं in the industries, ठीक है, so during the processing of these product, a gas is produced which is known as coal gas. So coal gas is obtained during the processing of coal to get the coke. It is used as a fuel in many industries and situated near the coal processing plants. These days, bitumen, as I have told you earlier, that bitumen, a petroleum product, is used in place of coal tar for metaling the roads. Coal gas was used first time for the street lighting for the first time in London in 1810 and in New York around 1820. But nowadays it is used as a source of heat rather than the light. Next is the petroleum. As you all know that we use petrol and diesel in our daily lives. अगर हम इसका differentiation देखें कि petrol and diesel में what is the difference, main difference, that petrol is used as a fuel to run the vehicles in the light automobiles such as motorcycles, scooters and cars. But heavy motor vehicles like trucks and tractors, they run on the influence of the diesel. So petrol and diesel, they are obtained from a natural resource that is known as petroleum. But do you know how the petroleum is formed? petroleum as same as I have told you earlier, same in case of coal, petroleum was formed from the organism which are living deep inside the sea. As these organisms, coal is formed from the remains of the dead vegetation and petroleum is formed from the remains of the dead living organisms. So as these organisms, they died, their bodies, they settled at the bottom of the sea, deep inside the sea, and with increasing time they got covered with the layers of sand or soil and clay time to time. So they sank over the soil, they sank inside the soil deeper and deeper. But over the millions of years, as in the absence of air, as you know that in the previous centuries the atmosphere was oxygen free. So in the absence of air and high temperature and high pressure, these dead organisms, they transformed into a substance, dark oily like substance, which is known as petroleum and natural gas, which we use nowadays to run the automobiles. Next is the refining of the petroleum. Petroleum, it is a dark oily liquid. Okay, it is a thick liquid, it is a viscous liquid, dark in color, it is oily in texture, it has an unpleasant smell. उसकी जो स्मेल होती है, it is very unpleasant and it is a mixture of various constituents. ठीक है, petroleum, it is a mixture of various constituents. For example, petroleum gas, it is a mixture of gas, petrol, diesel, the lubricating oil, paraffin, wax, etc. These are the composition of petroleum. So what is petroleum refinery? Firstly, what is the refinery? The process of separating the various constituents, we termed it as an refinery. But the process of separating the various fractions of petroleum, the various products that are present inside the petroleum, the process of separating them, we called it as an petroleum refinery. Next is the natural gas. Natural gas is a very important fossil fuel. It is very important in our daily life because it is easy to transport. We can easily transport it through the pipes, and it is very easy to carry, easy to manage, and it is convenient. So we can use it as a natural gas CNG, and we can use it to produce the power generation in the factories. But the natural gas is stored under the high pressure. Okay? The natural gas which is stored under the high pressure as a compressed natural gas is known as CNG. That we call it compressed natural gas. This CNG, it is used for the power generation in various types of thermal industries, and it is now being used as a fuel for transporting the vehicles because it is very, very less polluting as compared to the petrol and diesel, because it does not produce any harmful poisonous gas, for example carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. It is a very cleaner fuel. So the great advantage of CNG is that it can be used directly for the burning in homes. We can use it in cylinders for the cooking of food, and factories where it can be supplied through the pipes. Example of this is that the pipeline that exists in Vadodara, Gujarat, some parts of Delhi, such network of pipeline are being transported. So you have studied in the beginning of the chapter that some natural resources, they are exhaustible, like fossil fuels, forest, mineral, coal, petroleum, etc. You know that coal and petroleum, they are fossil fuel. It required the dead organisms or the dead, that coal required the dead vegetations, and the petroleum, it requires the dead organism for millions of years to get converted into these substances. So on the other hand, the known reserves of these will last almost a few hundred years ago. So these are present in a very limited quantity, and they can be exhausted by the human activities in the coming time. Moreover, the burning of these fossil fuels is the major cause of the air pollution. So it leads to the air pollution, release of the carbon dioxide gas and release of the carbon monoxide, that can cause various respiratory diseases. Their use is also linked to the global warming. These resources, they are also responsible for the global warming. So we should use them wisely so that they can remain with us for hundreds of years and they cannot cause any harm to our environment. It is therefore necessary so that we use these fuels only when absolutely necessary. we cannot use them unnecessary. So this will result in better environment, smaller risk of global warming, and their availability for the longer period of time and for the next generations. In India, the Petroleum Conservation Research Association, that is PCRA, it advises people how to save petrol, diesel while driving. Let's take this point one by one. These are very simple. The tips are that always drive at a constant and moderate speed as far as possible. Whenever you are going for a long distance drive, so always drive at a constant speed. Don't change it or don't fluctuate it with time to time. Second point is switch off the engine at traffic lights, at the traffic signals, or at a place when you have to wait. Third point is ensure correct tire pressure. Ensure that the tire pressure is always maintained. The last point is that ensure regular maintenance of your vehicle. So these are the important points of this chapter. I hope you have understood it thoroughly. Thank you very much.